Hi, good afternoon. This is Jeremy Murphy, and I am a life coach from Lincoln, Nebraska. I have started something called the Positivity Patrol, and we deal with positivity, bringing positivity to people's lives in different ways, trying to find ways to deal with stress and things of that nature. So thanks for joining us. Hi, Jonathan. Say hello. And so what I thought I'd do is open this up, and I'll open a seat in a moment. Maybe Jonathan or someone else would like to come in. But I'm going to start out with some singing. And singing is one of the things that I'm a musician. And so being musical is something that comes natural to me. And I've been a musician for a long time. And I think when we deal with stress, one thing is we try to find happy memories to help us work through difficulties that we might face, adversity, things of that nature. So I remember when I was in high school, we had a production of Annie, and I was in it, the musical. And so the song that sticks in my head is the song Tomorrow. So I'll sing that for you now, and then we'll open the seat. The sun'll come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there'll be sun. Just thinking about tomorrow clears away the cobwebs and the sorrow till there's none. When I'm stuck with a day that's gray and lonely, I just stick up my chin and grin and say, oh, the sun'll come out tomorrow, so you gotta hang on till tomorrow. Come what may, tomorrow, tomorrow, I love ya. Tomorrow, you're always a day away. When I'm stuck with a day that's gray and lonely, I just stick out my chin and grin and say, oh, tomorrow, tomorrow, I love ya. Tomorrow, you're always a day away. Tomorrow, tomorrow, I love ya. Tomorrow, you're only a day away. All right, here we are. Jeremy Murphy, I'm in Lincoln, Nebraska. I'm going to open the seat. I think the seat is open. So if someone wants to join or has a question, looks like I have opened it. Okay. Seat is open if someone wants to join us. Once again, I'm Jeremy Murphy from Lincoln, Nebraska. I am a life coach, running coach, nutrition consultant. What else can I tell you? Marathoner, father, musician. I love poetry, music, things of that nature. I'm going to let someone in here. We've got a caller who wants to come in. Hi there, how are you? Can you hear me? I can see you, but I can't hear you.
How are you?
Hi, good. How are you doing?
Fine.
What's your name?
My name is Said.
Said? And
yeah.
Where do you live?
Anything. Where are you from, my friend?
I'm from Lincoln, Nebraska in the United States.
American?
America, yes.
Yeah, welcome, welcome.
Where are you from?
I am from Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you know? Yeah.
Go ahead.
Do you know Saudi Arabia?
Do I know Saudi Arabia? I know where it is. I know where it is. I've never been there, though.
Hmm.
My brother has been there.
Do you know when the American Arabic is good or not good?
If Arabic is good or not good, you
Yeah.
mean
For the anything for American, what he say the Arabic good or not good?
I guess I would say I don't know if we have much of an understanding of people that are living in that region. I guess I would say we do have a lot of people here who are of Arabic descent and speak the language and things like that. We're seeing more immigration here, so I guess I try to keep an open mind about it. I don't know. I guess I don't know a lot of friends that speak or write in Arabic. I know a couple, I think. But I guess that's what I would say.
What username?
My name is Jeremy.
Welcome, Jeremy.
And welcome to you.
Okay, see
Okay,
you.
bye. Okay, going to get back to what we were talking about with positivity. We have, all of us have adversity that comes up. We have challenges, we have chaos, we have other issues that occur, and we have to find ways to deal with those. And we have to find ways to deal with them in productive ways. And sometimes it involves pressing a pause button. And that might mean different things for different people. For some of us, it might mean music or writing or walks in nature, running. There are just all kinds of different things that you could do to be able to press the pause button and kind of take a break, take a mental break, create enough inner space to be able to function at a high level. And I think if we don't do that, we find that we struggle sometimes with just doing things mindlessly. And that's been a struggle for me sometimes. I get caught up with what happened in the past or what I have to do in the future. And if we get so caught up with that and with multitasking and things of that nature, we do not, we don't live in the present. And if we're not living in the present, then we're not sharing people with our greater gifts. So, hi Heidi, I see your note. I understand. That's fine. We all have work to do sometimes. So that's good. I'm going to make sure I tell Little Bird here. If any of you are popping in and are on Twitter, you can tweet the link and it'll encourage people to come join us. I may change the topic a couple times because we're already getting into mindfulness. I am intending to do a mindfulness show next week to talk more about it because it just had a big impact on being able to help me move through some chaotic events in my own life. So anyway, we all find that we have stress. It comes up. We have to look for the signs of it. For me, I have asthma, so my asthma might flare up. Some of us get rapid heartbeat. We get just feel more nervous about things. We sweat more when we're under stress. And so we have to find ways to work through that. And I think learning to listen to those inner signs is a big deal. It's hard to do because we get in situations where we're kind of operating on automatic pilot, and I've tried to really be more conscious of what I'm doing and not letting the subconscious do quite so much. If we don't do that, then we're not really paying attention, and if we don't pay attention, bad things can happen, and we find that bad things will stack up and continue to happen, and we don't understand why. That's just something try to be conscious of. And for myself, I try to read at least 15 minutes a day. I do much better if I read closer to an hour, but sometimes I don't have that kind of time. I do speed read a little bit. So if I'm trying to get through books and I can't keep up, I have huge stacks of books from the library, and I keep extending them to the fullest extent that I'm able. And, that doesn't tend to go well sometimes. You get to the end of the library due date and you have to turn the books in, and you don't want to because it's a great book, and then you have to check it out again. And so that doesn't always happen. What about the music? Yes, thanks, Heidi. I do try to. I did find that I should explain. I started playing the piano when I was 4 or 5 years old. So music had a huge impact on my life because I took piano lessons for many years, and then I was a piano major in college for a while, and actually sang with the Fort Worth Opera Chorus for a whole season, in the chorus, not a soloist. I wish I could have been a soloist, but didn't quite have I've never had a voice lesson. I don't know why that is. That would be something that, I know, Heidi, I'm sure you've had many voice lessons, and here she is. I'm going to let Heidi in. Here we go. So I've tried to do piano, at least play the piano for 5 to 15 minutes a day, and sometimes that doesn't always happen, but it's something that I have to do. So hi, Heidi, thanks for joining us.
Hi. There's a little bit of background noise here. Yeah, you said you have problem with asthma. I taught people with asthma, and it went much, much, much better. They had much better values when they were checked after about half a year of teaching, singing. Much, much, much better values. So learning singing in the right way, I have to say, not in the wrong way, that has consequences. By the way, I have uploaded my videos, so that's now I can come in because of the bandwidth. I was preoccupied.
Good, no problem.
Okay.
Yeah, I learned I wasn't breathing correctly. Our voice conductor in college kind of taught us that, and I kind of scared him at the audition. I said, I've never had a voice lesson before, and so he was afraid what he was going to hear, but then he realized that he just kind of had some raw talent that needed to be developed. And fortunately, my mom sang a lot, and so it just hearing her sing constantly, it just kind of soaked into my brain to a great extent. Without that kind of influence, I don't know if I would have had that kind of interest. But I've found that the more I detach myself from music, the more stressed out you get, you just tend to miss it, and then you're denying an essential part of yourself that you really have to continue to develop. It's a use it or you lose it type of thing, and you know that. I know you do you do voice coaching now, right?
Yeah, I
used to
for 20 years.
Okay. Yeah.
I will try to do it via internet, the voice teaching, because I got tired to go all the time, a long time to find a place then to teach, because I'm living in the country and people normally don't move, at least not in Italy.
Yeah.
They won't go an hour and a voice lesson. So I had to go to my students, and I did it for 20 years. And then I got tired.
Yeah.
Now with internet, I tried it sometimes. It works, but it doesn't work as well as if I can touch the people, because I'm working with the body and really with touch, with orientation, with mindfulness, with consciousness training about what is going on in the body. So that I cannot probably do on the internet. I don't know, maybe sooner or later they invent the hand coming out of the screen.
Well, unfortunately, synchronizing songs with people in Europe or other faraway locations is a little more difficult. But Heidi, you're in Italy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And can you tell us where in Italy for our listeners? Some looks like some of us might know where you're from, but for the benefit of those that don't, where in Italy do you live? Is it Umbria?
It is the southest point of Umbria, okay. The most in the south. We are about on the Via Flaminia, which starts in the center of Rome. We are on Via Flaminia, kilometer 73. So it's not too far. But you know, Rome is a chaotic city, and whenever you have to go inside, you lose time. Mm-hmm. You never know when you arrive. So when I went.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead, you.
My grandma is from Bari, so I was
Bari.
You know how far it is from Bari, or her family is. She was born here. She was the only child in her family born in the United States. The rest were all born in Bari. So.
Okay. No, it's very far. Bari is on the south end, on the right side, let's say, when you see the map. Okay. While I'm in the middle.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I interrupted you. What were you going to say?
Oh, I don't remember. Probably that, I don't know. I wanted to say I'm in Italy because of singing, because of music, because I understood when I was already a soloist also in Germany for church music and leader and things. I always did classical music, and I sang in a choir. Since I was about 8 years old, I sang in choirs, you know. And I always thought that my voice is not my voice, you know. Teachers tried to teach me stuff, and then I was better then, and then I came to a point where I thought, no, that's not, you know. And so I had to unlearn several times and learn the new teachings of the new teacher. And then I was despairing, because in Germany we have an ideal of pureness, of intonation and everything. It's all very sort of fearful singing. When I was in a professional choir, there was always the fear not to be right. And this is certainly not helping the voice, you know, it's certainly not helping the self. So I choose Italy because I thought, here's the emotion, you know, and opera, Italian opera, and I was really intrigued by that. And exactly something happened, the liberation of all these restrictiveness which we have in Germany. Mm-hmm. And here people are just more emotional, more direct, and many of them, at least in the South, still have a good voice because they never repressed it, no? Because with the education, you sort of repress the voice because you lose the contact with the body.
Sure.
So I studied here for 3 or 4 years in Rome, and at least I learned many parts, opera parts, La Traviata. That's why I'm called here Traviata on Twitter and on Blab, and many other things. But I had a bigger voice by doing this, but it was still not my voice. And then I stopped doing lessons when I was about 34, 36, I think. And then I came here in the countryside, and here for the first time in my life, I had no neighbor being angry when I sang, you know. I mean, singing sometimes is not very, when you have to do exercises or try out, it's not really very pleasant all the time. I mean, music instruments altogether, no?
That's
in
true.
piano, if you all the time do the same exercises, people get crazy, no?
They can.
So here in the country, I could do what I wanted to do. Nobody cared, you know. I mean, they're so distant, nobody could complain. So, and that's when I finally found out how voice works. And I used something that I had done many years before in Berlin for body awareness. It is called breath therapy, which actually has not much to do with learning to breathe, but with putting the body in a condition that its breath comes in automatically in the right way, you know. And I thought, if I can do that with, you know, exercises of awareness, how you move your joints and things, why can't I do it with here and with my body altogether? So I found out in about 3 years, I was sort of fixed on it, and it was a hate-love relationship with what I was doing, you know. I wanted to stop it and only be with my animals and my plants. I had a vegetable garden, but then it just, I couldn't get rid of the idea to continue. And then one day, you know, I knew how it worked. And then I began to teach. And I saw that it worked very well with about 95% of the people.
Good.
So then I got confident that what I have found is right, because it's somehow against the normal way of teaching. It's certainly not how I have learned. They tried to teach me.
Right.
Singing. Certainly not. It's different. It's really an experiential awareness way. So you find out when it is right, how it feels like, and you find to recreate the body feeling, you know, and not so much with the ears, because the ears for singers is a problem.
Yeah.
For instrumentalists, not so much, but for singers, because we never hear ourselves as others hear us. So when we only rely on the ear, we are lost, you know. And many people think they sound wonderfully, but outside it doesn't sound so well.
Yeah.
So
it's hard to get the I think to get the resonance right, you know. And you're like you said, I think your resonance is not always as great as you might think. You know, it depends on the situation. So, but
it depends where you succeed to open your resonance bodies. And the more you hear yourself, the more you use only the head resonances. And that means that your voice is squeaky, is hard, it's also high, sounds high, you know. And when I worked with students, you know, and brought them into their body resonance, and they often said, "But do you hear me? Do you hear me?" I said, "Yes, and much better than before. It's much louder, the voice. You yourself don't hear it, because you hear it less in your head. It's going into your body, you know, and so you yourself don't hear it so loud, but the others hear it much louder." So with the voice, it's difficult to use the ears as a control. There is some control, you know, the pitches and all these things, but it's much better when you have the body feeling that it is right, then it is right, you know. So
what
what
kind of routine do you recommend for people to try to relax if they're trying to sing? You know, because singers, you know, I don't know why, but we're generally sort of tense. I guess I would say not all the time, but that tension is there, and you can feel it, you know, in your shoulders and your neck, and like you said, sometimes you can hear it in your singing. Your singing, it just sounds forced, and you know, even if you're singing within your range, you're finding that you're struggling because you're either not breathing correctly or you haven't taken the adequate steps to warm up or whatever.
No, it's because you force the voice.
Mm-hmm.
And that is all a consciousness training there too, and an imagination training, because we have the wrong inner images for the emanation of voice. When we think we have to sing outward, we force the voice, we force the vocal cords. And that's why this doesn't work. We have to really re-elaborate everything in ourselves. And the best thing would be to be as relaxed as possible in your mind and in these parts of the body, and train very well. I mean, women, I talk about women, the abdominal musculature, the whole body musculature. Men often are too tight. Men often have to relax these parts. When they are too tight, the voices come out too much forced. And women have to build them up. And when you have a flow and easy respondence of the muscular apparatus to what your intention is, then the voice automatically goes into your body, and in the right way, with the right support of your body, not a forced support, because many people force it down in their body or somehow, whatever, or out or whatever, or hold their ribs wide or something like this. All the forced things are not good, but the responsiveness of your body to what your voice is doing. So when you shout, for instance, or that you have still the same sort of reflective response in your body, like when a baby cries, because we had it once, the connection.
Yeah.
And this is all to rediscover these, let's say, not intuitive, it's not intuitive. It's an automatic body response, which we still have in some things, like in crying or in these things. They still have the body response, or in laughing. And that we sit back and see that we put our voice on these, natural, that we regain the natural body response to what the voice is doing.
Right.
And our culture has disconnected it. So for me, it's a research. Feel your body, feel your voice inside as vibration, but also pay attention to what happens in the way of muscular tension and loosening, this game of the muscles. This is a continuous, a little more, a little less. When you are louder, then probably the muscles are a little tighter, and so on, things like that.
Yeah.
It's a research work.
Yep.
And there is no such thing as exercises for me, which you do all this stuff. For me, it's absurd, because it makes you tired, and you are not conscious. I do these exercises, but in a conscious way. Every note, take long notes and observe what happens, and then find the way. When you feel easy, when it's easy for you, then ask yourself, what did I do? Why was it easy and before it was not?
Right.
And then try to find this easy way and find out what are the criteria, what are the, the factors which made it easy, and connect them together. Yeah. That's how I worked it for me, and how I work with people. So
good.
In some way, I try to do it on the internet sooner or later.
Yeah. Well, we all have different ways to loosen up before we sing. I had a college concert that I don't know. Unfortunately, it was the same day as one of the first marathons that I ran. So I ran a full marathon in the morning. My legs were just completely torched. I was barely walking and standing up. My fellow choir members were holding me up, and I was the first tenor. I had hit B flats and all this, and I just remember.
How can you say?
it's funny, but the added lung capacity that I got just from running that far, I didn't have trouble hitting B flats, without using falsetto. And normally I was having to, cover them a little bit so they weren't sticking out there so much. But I do admit my choir members were propping me up. They'd kind of have their elbows out just in case. They said, "We're not going to let you fall down. And then we're glad you're here." We had bets on whether you would show up after running a full marathon. But
probably by running, you have cleared the whole apparatus and put in action the belly muscles and the back muscles and everything. And
sure.
You don't have necessarily to sing with your legs, so your legs wouldn't run anymore.
Yeah. If you are singing with your legs, I think you're doing it incorrectly. I could be wrong. There's probably a school of thought out there. But
no, you sing with your legs in the sense of the resonance. You can also use the resonance with your bone.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you your favorite opera, but I think you've made that obvious with your handle, right?
La Traviata. Yeah.
But mine is Barber Seville, although if I start listening to different operas, it's kind of the one I'm listening to at that time. Or the one I'm attending, it just, there's such amazing beauty in opera and, and other music too. And, even Porgy and Bess, there are just all kinds of examples that stick out like that just kind of grab us in a visceral way and connect with us in a very tight way, tighter than some literature for some reason. I don't know. Some books, it just seem so distant, I can't really connect with them. Some music is completely the opposite. It has that strong magnetic pull. And I think it's that way for, not just for people that are musicians, but for music connoisseurs that love to listen to it. So.
Yeah, and I want to come back on your title. Also, I don't completely understand it. Stressbusters, positive, but what do you mean with that? But let me then tell you what I want to say in terms of
the concept. What I'm trying to work with is to help people deal with stress in different ways. I think I did a stress management show before, and just, people in all stages of life have stress or chaos or adversity they encounter, and trying to help people break through that in a productive way. So, and the positivity patrol is the idea that I have to try to encourage people to look at the positive side of everything. And if that's not possible, to try to move the 3 degrees or so and keep incrementally moving to the positive side. I found that society has gotten too caught up with negativity. And I got sucked into that myself as an attorney. You're constantly playing the devil's advocate. And if you're playing the devil's advocate all the time, you're not looking at the angel side of the coin. And, so I guess trying to recharacterize things in a positive light. I just have too many people struggling that are friends, family, other people that are, needing to turn things around and be more positive. So that's what I'm trying to do with the Positivity Patrol. I'm also writing a book with that title. So I periodically tell people that are listening, chapter 1 of the book is written. There are 9 more chapters that I'm writing. It's entered in a book writing contest with 200 other entries. So I've got a lot of competition, but the people that win that competition will be offered publishing contracts. So we'll see what happens. If I'm fortunate enough to do well in that, then, maybe I'll have a contract to work with. Otherwise, I'll try to self-publish or continue to promote the book to other people. But the idea is there are enough people struggling with anxiety, stress, depression, mental illness, just all kinds of job loss, relationship breakups, moving to different places and feeling abandoned, lonely, things like that. A lot of these people are falling between the cracks, and there isn't a system set up as a safety net to help people bounce off that adversity and fly somewhere a little bit higher. So there's just too many people kind of hitting the ground without bouncing first. And so I'm trying to find ways to create structures to allow people to bounce productively, and not, not just in a knee-jerk fashion, but in more of an intentional, mindful way, and be able to move on productively and really be able to see their full potential. And, that's something I've struggled with myself, just to find, I have all these gifts and interests, and trying to find the central ones that I want to work with and incorporate into what I'm doing. And I think I finally have some clarity on that. But I see a lot of people that they're lacking that clarity, or lacking that confidence, or just feeling like they're beat up in life, and that people aren't listening to them, and things like that. And and I've tried to become a better listener myself. And that's a struggle, because you realize if you multitask and you're trying to do too many things at once, you're not paying attention. And, that lack of attention affects your relationships with people and your future.
Everything, yeah.
Yep.
Do you create physical structures for that, or do you do it with a book, or do you do courses, or how do you intend to do that?
Well, I am intending. I'm writing a course right now. I've written a free course called "Transform Your Life with Positivity," and that's going to be a free course that I'm going to offer. It'll be about an hour long. And then they'll have a follow-up course that'll be 8 weeks, which would be paid. That's kind of an advanced course, and just taking people through the different aspects of positivity that I think are linked together in order to be effective and be strong and persevering, and courage and things like that. So I'm going to offer that package to people online, and also just try to be available to people that need coaching, that, have, I just found, I've been an attorney for 22 years now, and you have, in that capacity, you have all these people turning to you for advice, not just for legal advice, but for personal advice, saying, look, I know you've seen a lot of crazy things, and this is what happened in my life, and how can I get through this? And I just found, I have all these people turning to me for this advice, and I'm not really, I've been trying to help them, but I haven't been able to help them at the level that I'd like to be able to help them move to a higher level. So, I am, creating that 8-week course is still being revised, but the free course is close to being just kind of rearranging the slides. But the free course is about to be uploaded. The 8-week course will be after that, and that'll be evergreen content that'll be available to people, for their future use, and I'll be available for follow-up if they need it. So, but really, it's intended to create a strategic worldwide alliance of people that will pledge to be positive to the best of their ability, and to help other people, just to kind of try to flip things to the positive side. And I found that if I make a conscious effort to do that, maybe 80% of the time I can flip it. Maybe 20% of the time I can't flip it right away, but I can flip it that 3 degrees. And if I keep flipping it 3 degrees for, 20 or 30 days, I mean, you get to a point where you've made a 180 degree turn. And that's really, Andy Andrews wrote a great book called The Noticer, and talking about this guy named Jones, about, all you need is a little perspective. And I found that some of us, we need that little shift. But if we can't make that little shift, then we're just going to continue to do things the same way, blinders on, tunnel vision, my way or the highway. I mean, we've got to connect with people at a human level, and if we don't do that, we're just not going to have a much more limited existence. I think less than is intended to be.
Yeah, I wish you good luck for that.
Thank you.
I wanted to come back to stress because music and stress. So I find that for me, for a long time, when I listened to, I mean, you talked about being stressed before the concert and before things, but normally what we have to pay attention is also during the concert, not to be tight and stressed, find ways. And I had found ways to do that and, to go down with the level of stress. But generally, when I listen to singing music, I normally listen, and I cannot do it as background music, and it is not stress diminishing. But what I use when I was very bad off in moments of depression or things like that, I listen to Bach, instrumental music. And this is sort of getting my mind in the right way. It is composing my mind. It's like, I don't know, like magical. I couldn't listen to the arias and choir work or something, because this was all my work where there were expectations behind, and which makes you go into stress. So I cannot use that. Maybe now, yes, but before not. I couldn't use that for diminishing stress. But instrumental music, the famous aria of Bach, for instance, is I melt away, and it has always helped me. And when there were really bad moments in my life, drama or something, I had a CD player with a loop, and I slept with it with earbuds, and I always heard this music, and it really took off the stress. And I still like to listen to it. I don't listen so much anymore because my computer doesn't have a CD player anymore, and my other one is broken. And when I'm working on the computer, I don't want to open too many programs, because then it goes slower and slower.
That's true. Just dilute the power, doesn't it?
Music is a great way to, not the bam, bam, bam music, not the dramatic music. For that, I go away from Beethoven, Mahler, and these things, because they're a little bit too, that has another goal, when you listen to that, it's more to be involved in it and to be led in the passion but when you want to go out of your emotions, it's better you find something which is equalizing. And then I don't know how far there is also this music and where they have underlying, or maybe it's not even music, the binaural beats music, which is working on the hemispheres, on the brain waves, and so these are also very good things to diminish the stress.
Well, Beethoven is my favorite, although I have many favorites, but I don't know. I've just found that it does, if you're a pianist, sometimes I think you need to pound on the piano. I don't like to admit that to people, but there are times if you're stressed out, that's what ends up happening. I end up playing the Moonlight Sonata, but not the movement that you're thinking of, the last movement. The fast, stormy one, not the slow. The slow, calm one is the one I play for our dog to get her to sleep. But
it depends what you need it for. It depends what you need it for. For some people, it's relieving stress to get the over energy out. And for some people, relieving stress is melt away. And I think everybody has their own ways of dealing. Important to find out which one is the right one.
What about stage fright? Did you ever have that? I had that some as a pianist primarily, and I don't remember really how I conquered that, but it seems like the more that you perform, it just, you know, you eventually feel like you're connected to the audience. They're listening to you. They respond. You know, I think eventually there were a couple of standing ovations that occurred that I wasn't expecting. And I mean, that does a lot for your confidence, but you know, but for a singer, I mean, you're even more, out there if you're standing up and all that. And I don't know, some people say it's kind of like being out there as a violinist. I used to play violin too. I played for 7 years and haven't really come back to it, unfortunately, but I'd like to someday. But I'm just curious if you ever had stage fright or if you've dealt with people that have had that.
Oh yeah, I had the first time I was performing in a mass. I was about 22 years old, and as a soloist, not as a choir. As a choir singer, stage fright, yeah, but it's, you know, there's always the others, and so I really, literally, something happened to me. You know, really the fright response, physical fright response, and I was always half a pitch higher than I should have been. This was really a disaster. But then the more you do it, the more you get confident. And in a certain moment, I found out that, yeah, maybe I was afraid of the people, but not so much afraid of the people, but of doing it wrong, making errors. And in Germany, errors, you know, when you sing the wrong note, oh gosh, you know, you are immediately judged and so on. It's all about that. And then I discovered that I wasn't prepared enough. As I don't play piano, I only learned the melodies, and then we had 2 or 3 rehearsals, and I was never enough used to the accompaniment, to the music altogether. And that was a time when you didn't have easily earbuds to listen to things, you know.
Sure.
Maybe I had a disc, the big disc at home, but it was not so easy. And then I understood when I saw a friend who invited me, who was singing in the opera in Berlin. He invited me to listen to the rehearsals they had. And then I understood that I really had to work better. And then I found a pianist and we worked together. And later I had a little, you know, it costed a lot of money. A cassette player was about this size. I could take it around and I could record, and then I could listen at home and re-listen. And since these devices are out, I always use them to re-listen to what I'm doing, to know how it sounds like for other people, you know, because as we said before, like you hear yourself, it doesn't sound out there like that. And to get so much used to the music that in the performance, even if I have forgotten it, my voice would sing out of itself. You know, it's like a conditioning response. So I really studied a lot then, and from that point on, the imperfection fright was gone. And altogether, there's always a little bit of, you know, it's not like going to eat an ice cream when you go to perform. It's always a different energy. It's always a little bit of, you know, high tension, let's say. But it wouldn't lead anymore to, oh, you are gone. It wouldn't lead anymore to lose control or to do something really, really, really strange. Yeah, as I have lost Jeremy, I just continue a little bit. This is even, it can go to the point that you really enjoy to stay there and sing. And when you have people watching you and seeing and are happy that you are doing this, I mean, this with the instruments is the same thing, then you connect with them. And this is giving you more energy to do it, and also more confidence. When you see that the people are sort of distracted, and I'm living here in Italy, and people are often, you know, talking, going in and out, then I lose also a little bit of the concentration and also of the enjoyment to do these things, to perform for them. And then immediately what comes out has less quality, because you need a certain level of energy, a certain level of excitement to really bring over what you want to bring over. Okay, I think that was it. I close the blog from my side. Bye-bye.